Thank you, Laska and Corla. I've listened to my colleagues. There's huge support for credit unions. But as I said, what matters is that we translate that soft support into legislation, into a framework that will give the essential support for credit unions. I mean, we've heard many fine words here today, and that's fine. But credit unions have been existing on fine words for far too long, and that is why I proposed this amendment. It's not a final word on what is needed. Rather, it's an opportunity for this House to put in place proportionate legislation to support the credit union movement. Like my colleague Catherine Connolly, I have to declare an interest. I too relied on the credit unions for a loan to support a number of my elections. I mean, that's an important point to make, because lots of people think that it's only certain people who rely on credit unions, but across society we do. I want to recognise also the contribution of my colleague Michael Fitzmaurice when he outlined the disappearance or downgrading of the banks in so many local towns. In more recent times, in my own constituency, I see Ballymote and Tubbercurry and Sligo, Manorhamilton and Drumshanbo and Leitrim, and other towns. And this strengthens the need for appropriate and proportionate legislation. And that's important, appropriate and proportionate legislation for credit unions, that they can continue to serve their communities. My colleague Michael McNamara spoke of the high level of bureaucracy on little people as distinct from our large institutions. And Minister, if there is one thing I have learned from my reasonably long time in politics, is that the individual always pays the price, while institutions are supported and protected by our legislation. My colleague Thomas Pringle spoke of the need to take away the absolute power of the central bank. Many colleagues have articulated their support either for the specifics of my proposal or for its intent. And that satisfies me, as I don't have all the answers to hand. I am sure of one thing, however: the current high level of bureaucracy without proper proportionate response to the financial needs of communities is just not acceptable any longer. Many other colleagues have made really important contributions. I don't have time to go through them all. My constituency colleague Martin Kenny spoke of the overreach of the central bank regarding credit unions. Sean Sherlock spoke of the need for the central bank to take their foot off the necks of credit unions and let them thrive. Richard Boyd Barrett reminded us of the absence of social objectives in our reaction to the banking crisis, and he reminded us that the objectives of the credit union are there to serve the community. They are the model of how financial institutions should operate. We had other colleagues from the Soc Dems. They want checks and balances and not interferences in the legislation concerning regulations. Deputy Canny spoke of the huge concern about the withdrawal of banking services in local communities, and this was re-echoed by Peadar Tobin, where he said that everyone speaks of credit unions as motherhood and apple pie, but no proper legislative support for the movement is put in place. I want to also thank the rural independents. They spoke the truth. Credit unions were the only ones to extend loans to the community when we needed their support during the global financial crisis. Minister, I have listened carefully to what you said. I listened with real expectation and hope. I was prepared to wait the 9 months to let this bill move to second stage, and that will happen because you're a government and you have a majority. I have no problem with that. That's the system in which we work. But, Minister, I would have been happy to support your amendment if there were not so many caveats, so many get-out clauses to ensure the status quo remains as it is. Minister, if I had heard, especially from Minister O'Gorman, if I had heard a neutral ministerial response, I wouldn't object to your amendment. But you say my bill does not provide all the solutions to key challenges. That's absolutely true, but I haven't heard your solutions. To be honest, I'm shocked by your statement that I support political interference. I do not. I never have. I am sickened by that suggestion. It's not worthy of you, Minister, and it's not worthy of this government. And my record supporting credit unions in the European Parliament and here will bear this out. Can Corla, I commend this bill to the House.
Thank you very much, Deputy.